Hey guys, it's Hagen K here, and today I'm going to go over what I've watched in the last 3 months. I apologize for not posting a lot of videos, just, been busy with life as we all are. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started with what I've watched. September, then October, and then through November, because, right now we're in December, so let's go ahead and get started. So, to start off with September, on the 1st, I watched The Expendables, a very popular franchise that started in the early 2010s, and yeah, really enjoyed this franchise. And with the first one, I gave it a 3 stars out of 5. Now, up next on September the 4th, I watched Fire in the Sky, a 90s film. Really enjoyed this film. Had some great special effects in it. Basically, an alien abduction story, and just overall, good, really story that I thoroughly enjoyed. And I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. Now, up next on September the 5th, I watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love all the Indiana Jones movies. Very much enjoyed these movies growing up as a kid, and I gave the Last Crusade a 5 stars out of 5. I also wanted to mention something here, since I just mentioned the Last Crusade. I had a colleague at work gift me this little Funko set here. It's kind of like a statue in a way, but it displays the boulder escape scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark. But I thought this was a very awesome gift from a great friend, and yeah, it's got good detail here. It's all one piece, so you got Indy here at the front and then the boulder here in the back, and yeah, just a nice piece that I probably display in my room here. But pretty good detail for Funko, and again, thank you, man. I'm not gonna say your name, but I really appreciate this gift, and thank you so much. So back to my logs here. On September the 8th, I watched The Expendables 2, probably my favorite of the franchise by far. Love Van Damme as the villain in this movie, and I gave Expendables 2 a 3 stars out of 5. On September the 10th, I watched Christine in theaters for its anniversary, and great theater experience. Love Christine, a classic directed by John Carpenter, and gave it a 4 stars out of 5. Here's my copy of it here, the 4K from, I believe, yeah, Columbia Pictures. So yeah, Christine. Now, up next on September the 13th, I watched Expendables 3, which we had a 4th one come out recently. I haven't seen that one yet, but I watched all 3 of these on streaming, and the second one's still my favorite, but still enjoyed the 3rd one. Enjoyed all of them just for what it was as an action franchise, and I gave Expendables 3 a 3 stars out of 5. Also on the 13th of September, I watched the sequel to Crank, which is Crank High Voltage. Really loved the first movie of Crank. I enjoyed this sequel, not as much as the first one, but still enjoyed it and had a good time with it, and I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. Now on the 18th, I watched Train to Busan, a foreign film involving zombies and whatnot. It's a great zombie film and has a lot of good drama to it, and really recommend it if you haven't watched it. But yeah, Train to Busan, gave it a 4 stars out of 5. On the 19th, I watched Prom Night from, I believe, 2008. Has some good moments here and there. I really like the cast, but overall, don't really see myself being resonated by it. But I wish the kills would have been a little bit better and would have had more gore to it, but it is what it is. So I gave Prom Night a 2 stars out of 5. On the 20th, I watched Chernobyl Diaries, and this is like a found footage type style film that came out in the 2010s, I believe. I remember I went to the theaters with my dad and watched this, and I enjoy it. I enjoy a lot of found footage movies, and this one really has an interesting plot behind it. It's good to go back to it after a long period of not watching it, and yeah, I gave Chernobyl Diaries a 2.5 stars out of 5. Now on the 22nd of December, I watched 65, starring Adam Driver. Thought it was an okay science fiction movie. Liked the special effects they had, the CGI. It was an okay watch, and I gave it a 2.5 stars out of 5. Now on the 23rd of September, I went to the theaters and watched The Nun 2. I've never seen the first Nun, but I went into this one watching the all the Conjuring movies and Annabelle movies, so I had an idea of what I was getting into, and sure enough, it's about what I expected. Still had a good time with it, and gave The Nun 2 a 2.5 stars out of 5. Now on September the 25th, I watched Escape from Alcatraz starring Clint Eastwood, a great prison movie that I really hadn't heard of until recently. Bought the 4K from Kino Lorber here, and great poster art here. I really like this poster, and a great prison movie. If you haven't checked it out, highly recommend it. Definitely up there with Shawshank and The Green Mile, but Clint Eastwood, Escape from Alcatraz, highly recommend it. Gave it a 4 stars out of 5. Now on the 26th of September, I watched Hacksaw Ridge starring Andrew Garfield, a great military movie, a great war movie. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I think directed by Mel Gibson, and really enjoyed this watch. Gave it a 4 stars out of 5. On the 29th of September, I watched Talk to Me. I'd watched this previously a few months ago back in the summer when it debuted in theaters. It was getting another theater run here locally for me, so I went to watch it, and I enjoyed my second watch of this movie. Probably one of my favorites of the year, I'd say, with horror. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think it's got a prequel and a sequel coming out at some point in the future. But gave Talk to Me a 3.5 stars out of 5. Now that'll do it for my September watches. I logged a total of 15 logs throughout the month. And let's go ahead and get started with October. Now, throughout the month of October, I did a video saying of what I had an idea of what I wanted to watch for this month. And I had 15 films that my goal was to watch throughout the month. Now, I didn't reach that goal, but I got pretty close. I think I watched roughly 12 out of the 15 in this month. So on October the 1st, I watched No One Will Save You, a Hulu original movie, and really enjoyed this movie. Thought it was a great original idea, and it involves aliens and whatnot. It reminded me of Quiet Place in a way, due to not a lot of dialogue. One thing about this movie that I liked is it really honed in on one character of this girl, and it had kind of like a little backstory to her. But really enjoyed the watch. It was very entertaining, and I gave No One Will Save You a 3.5 stars out of 5. On October the 8th, I watched The Howling, a werewolf movie from the 80s, maybe early 80s, 82, 83, not quite sure at the moment. But I got the 4K here from Scream Factory, and 81 is when this came out. But thought it was a good movie. Liked the special effects in it, especially toward the end of the movie. Really enjoyed seeing that up close and personal, especially in 4K. And good. If you like werewolf movies, definitely got to have this in your collection. But yeah, I gave The Howling 3 stars out of 5. On the 9th of October, I watched Poltergeist. And so far, all 3 of these that I've listed in October were movies on my watch list. So I got off to a hot start here in October, but watched Poltergeist for the first time, and really enjoyed this movie. Again, the special effects in this movie were great. Just overall, a great original idea for a movie, and a good watch, great cast, everything very, very spot on, and gave Poltergeist 3.5 stars out of 5. On the 10th, I watched Child's Play, and everybody knows Child's Play. If you're watching this, probably great movie. My first time watch, and it was a great watch. Enjoyed Brad Dourif's character, and yeah, Child's Play, it's a horror classic. Give it a 4 stars out of 5. On the 11th, I watched Tenebrae, a foreign film that I had heard about, and I believe it's directed by Dario Argento. It's another movie I had on my October watch list. Watched this for the first time, and watched it in 4K. I don't have the copy with me, but my friend has the 4K from, I believe, Synapse Films, and it was a good movie. I liked the setting quite a bit. Was confused at times, but it's probably a movie that I need to rewatch a bit to get a full grasp of. So I gave Tenebrae a 3 stars out of 5. On the 13th of October, I watched Wreck, a foreign film from overseas, found footage style type film. Really liked the idea of it and the premise of this apartment building being quarantined off due to a virus breaking out, and you have these people attacking each other. Great horror. Great first watch for me, and I really liked Wreck. Gave it a 4 stars out of 5. And the next day, on the 14th, I watched Wreck 2, a sequel to Wreck, and I liked this movie quite a bit. Didn't hold up to the first one, but still a good watch for a sequel, and I gave Wreck 2 a 3 stars out of 5. Also on the 14th of October, I watched Hellraiser, and really enjoyed this movie, enjoyed the themes of it, and the special effects were out of this world. A great horror watch, and a great watch if you're a horror fan. and gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. On October 17th, I watched Fright Night, a great flick. It's been a while since I've seen it. I watched it back in 2019, I believe, for the first time, and it was great to revisit it. I was able to watch it on a big screen, so it was a nice experience, and just a great vampire classic, great classic from the 80s. Gave Fright Night a 3.5 stars out of 5. October 20th, I watched Child's Play 2, sequel to Child's Play, of course, and really enjoyed the sequel. I like the setting of it. I like the plot behind Andy being adopted by foster parents and his whole experience of all that. And really enjoyed this sequel and enjoyed the kills in it from Chucky himself. And gave Child's Play 2 a 3.5 stars out of 5. On the 23rd of October, I watched Angel Heart starring Mickey Rourke and Robert De Niro. And I believe, who else? Lisa Bonet, I believe. Lisa Bonet, I think. Not sure if that's right or not. But really enjoyed Angel Heart. I believe it was based off of a book, and definitely got to give this a rewatch. But my first time watch was great, and a great movie with some great themes and messages to it. And I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. On the 24th of October, I watched The Lost Boys, another classic from the 80s vampire flick. If you're a horror fan, you've seen this. Jason Patric, Corey Haim, Kiefer Sutherland. Can't get enough of it. Great movie. Lost Boys, gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. And forgot to show my releases here for Fright Night and The Lost Boys, but here is the 4K I got of The Lost Boys. And I haven't opened this yet, but I was able to get the 4K steelbook of Fright Night, and a great steelbook with the original artwork on it. So yeah, great to have these movies in the collection. Really good 80s vampire flicks that, if you haven't watched, I highly recommend these. These are a go-to for any horror fan. On 29th of October, I watched Halloween, and that is John Carpenter's Halloween. I've got the Scream Factory edition here with this nice hard box set, and you can pull it out here, get the original artwork. I like this movie. It of course it's said by many to be a classic, and it's a good movie. I think I've seen way too many slashers now, so like this one, it's just your go-to, but this is kind of what started it all. Of course, it wasn't the exact thing that started it all. You know, you got Black Christmas and a few other slashers before this, but this really put the slasher genre into the mainstream, and it is a classic. So you got John Carpenter's Halloween. Gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. Now, my final watch for the month of October, I was able to watch Halloween 2 on October the 30th, and I actually enjoyed this a lot more than the first Halloween. And the reason why, I think because of the hospital setting. Just thought it was a great setting for this movie, and very dark, dismal, and just overall like a bleak movie with some great kills from Michael Myers. And I really like the ending with the I can't remember what the song is off the top of my head, but just that song playing with his face and the mask burning and just seeing that glow, just very eerie and creepy, and I love it. And really enjoyed Halloween 2 and gave it a 4 stars out of 5. Now, I wasn't able to watch everything in the month of October that I planned on my watch list, but I was able to do that here in the month of November. So you'll hear them come up if you watched my October video, my horror watch list video. I had Creepshow still to watch. I had Halloween 3 Season of the Witch still to watch, as well as Child's Play 3. So thankfully enough, was able to watch these and finish up my watch list for October. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started with November. So on November the 1st, I watched Child's Play 3. Good sequel. Not my favorite. Like the setting of the whole military academy with Andy and everything, and him growing up as he's getting older. And still an original movie. Enjoyed Chucky as always. Brad Dourif always does a great job with the voice of Chucky, and gave Child's Play 3 a 3 stars out of 5. On November the 4th, I watched Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. Enjoyed this movie. A great Nightmare on Elm Street sequel. Robert Englund, great acting, great performance as Freddy Krueger, and gave Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare a 3 stars out of 5. On November the 5th, I watched Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. But thought it was a great movie. Just a movie you have to go into. Just take Michael Myers. Just pretend this is a movie of its own. If you go into it that way, this movie is great, and I think it's a good horror watch. A great story, great great plot, and I believe, what's his name? Tom Adkins did a great job here in this movie. I love the ending of this. It kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger of what actually happened, and wouldn't mind seeing this getting remade in today's time. Have more of maybe a modern version with technology and whatnot. But if you haven't seen Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, I highly recommend it. And got this nice release here from Scream Factory. Of course, another hard box set with the original artwork on the inside here. But yeah, great watch. If they had called this just Season of the Witch, I think it would have done a lot better. But you know, with them wanting to have people come to, you know, have people fill the seats, you got to add Halloween to it. So that's kind of what they were hoping for. But still a great watch, and highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. On November the 6th, I watched Old Boy, a foreign film that's very highly regarded as one of the best films ever made. I enjoyed it. I need to rewatch it again to get more of a feel for it, because I was confused at certain times throughout the plot of the story. But still, with my first watch, I enjoyed it, and I gave Old Boy a 3 stars out of 5. On November the 7th, I watched The Taking of Deborah Logan. Again, a movie that's kind of filmed in a found footage type of style. Not at times it seems more theatrical than what I expected, but for the most part, in a found footage type of style. Enjoyed many parts of it. I liked some parts toward the ending, but the ending's kind of what didn't do it for me. But still enjoyed it and had a good time with it. And rated The Taking of Deborah Logan a 2.5 stars out of 5. On November the 8th, I watched Creepshow, which finally encapsulated my horror watch list for October of this year. And I enjoyed Creepshow. I liked all the stories. My favorite story was definitely The Crate. But I enjoyed it for my first watch. And I mentioned Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. You have kind of like a little cameo, I guess you would say, of Tom Atkins at the beginning and then at the end. But what about that Stephen King segment? That was, I don't even know what to think of that. That was just crazy. It was a fun watch, but that was just so out there and bizarre. Just crazy. But overall, really enjoyed Creepshow. And again, not my favorite anthology, but I'll give it a 3 stars out of 5. It's definitely one I got to rewatch. On November the 9th, I watched Creepshow 2, and I really enjoyed this anthology. It had 3 stories. Really loved The Raft. I enjoyed all 3 stories, the first 2 especially. But yeah, really enjoyed Creepshow 2 and gave it a 4 stars out of 5. Now on November the 10th, I went to the theaters and watched Priscilla, a movie directed by Sofia Coppola, and really enjoyed this movie. Enjoyed the perspective from Priscilla Presley's life, you know, being married to Elvis and whatnot, and very subtle movie, but enjoyed it and gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. On November the 13th, I watched a Netflix original, and this being a David Fincher movie, which he hadn't directed anything in quite a while, so it was great to see a movie directed by him come out recently, and that is The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender. Really enjoyed this watch. I love the Smiths playing throughout the movie. I enjoy the Smiths music, and that beginning scene with him in that abandoned building, you know, looking in for his target across the street. Just that whole first 15 minutes I really enjoyed, and gave The Killer a 3.5 stars out of 5. On November the 15th, watched one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is Scarface in the theaters. And it's Scarface. What can I say? Brian De Palma, Al Pacino. I mean, it's cinema gold. Really enjoy this watch. It's always something that I can play and rewatch over and over and over again. Just a classic story, you know, involving somebody from the bottom, making it to the top, and then having it, you know, fall apart within a matter of moments. And just a great watch, great story. It's simple, but very effective. Gave Scarface a 5 stars out of 5. On November the 17th, I watched a documentary on Netflix called Sly, which is a documentary about Sylvester Stallone and kind of his start of his career in Hollywood and acting and whatnot, and his struggles and adversity and all that. And I really like Sylvester Stallone's story, and it's something that I always admire and respect. And really good documentary. I wish there could have been more added to it, but enjoyed what they did provide within the documentary itself, and gave Sly a 3.5 stars out of 5. On November the 19th, I went to the theaters and watched Thanksgiving, a slasher directed by Eli Roth, which has been hyped up for, I'd say, months now. And this movie was based off of a, I guess kind of like a clip from, I believe, Grindhouse. But really enjoyed Thanksgiving, a great slasher. If you like slashers, it's definitely up your alley. And gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5, which I think it just got announced that there'll be a sequel to it in a couple years. So always good to see if you're a horror fan, and go support horror if you love these movies, especially in the theaters. So yeah, check out Thanksgiving if you haven't seen it already. On November the 10th, I watched a movie called Primutos, The Fallen Angel. This is a movie. Special effects were good, and yeah, that's about it. I don't know if I'll ever go back to this movie. Yeah. Anyways, Primutos, The Fallen Angel, gave it a 1 star out of 5. Now, on November 22nd, I watched Looper, a movie starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis, sci-fi type of movie. Takes place in the near future. Also has Emily Blunt in it, does a great job in her performance. But really enjoyed Looper. I enjoy any type of sci-fi movie, and gave this a 4 stars out of 5. On November the 24th, I watched Hulk, starring Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly. And this movie, I believe, was directed by Ang Lee. Came out in the early 2000s. I remember watching this as a kid. I remember clips of it. And with it being a Marvel movie, it's very different from Marvel movies these days. And in that way, because it's more grounded, I believe, than you can make a Marvel movie. It's definitely the most grounded Marvel movie I've seen. And I haven't seen a whole lot of Marvel movies, but from what I've seen and how it deals with trauma and childhood trauma and all that, just from that perspective, I think it's really interesting. The movie itself delivers that okay. There's still some parts there, of course. It's not a perfect movie, but if you enjoy the Hulk, if you enjoy the character, his story from the comics and whatnot, it's something you'll want to watch. And Nick Nolte has a great performance in this movie as well. Check it out if you haven't seen it. So yeah, give the Hulk a 3 stars out of 5. On November the 27th, I watched Raw, a French film, and really good movie. I enjoyed the originality of it and gave it a 3 stars out of 5. On November the 28th, I watched Predators, a sequel to the Predator franchise. This came out, I think, around 2010, maybe. Stars Adrian Brody. And a good action watch if you're just looking for something fun to turn your mind off to. And yeah, enjoyed Predators and gave it a 3 stars out of 5. On November 29th, I watched The Killing of a Sacred Deer, starring, who stars in that? Nicole Kidman, Barry Keoghan, and Colin Farrell. And a weird movie. I enjoyed this movie, a very unique movie. And it's got some themes to it. It's a movie that basically leaves you thinking after it. And any movie that does that does a great job. So check it out if you haven't watched it. It's very interesting, very weird, very peculiar, but something you want to watch if you like movies. So gave this Killing of a Sacred Deer a 3 stars out of 5. I forgot to mention these 2 releases here I have. I've got the 4K of Looper, and then this amazing steelbook put out recently by Universal of Scarface for its anniversary. I believe this is the 40th anniversary. So great movie. Scarface is a classic. So that'll do it. Thank you for watching. And again, sorry for not posting a whole lot. Really just been busy. But yeah, this is what I've watched in the last 3 months. And don't forget to like, comment what you've been watching and whatnot. And appreciate it, guys. Take care.